Hello, sports fans, and welcome back to Sports on the Spot. My name is Willie Charger. Today I'll be joined by Nick James, and later on, Ronnie's going to join us as well. Lenny's on assignment today, but he will be sending us his lowdown for this week. A lot of things going on in the sports world over the weekend. Nick, what was your big takeaway from the last couple of days?
Willie, I was pretty surprised and glad to see that the Dodgers were able to pull a no-hitter against the Cubs. And by pull a no-hitter, I mean the Cubs collectively threw a no-hitter against the Dodgers. The Dodgers weren't able to get a hit on them through 4 pitchers. So pretty good to see, with the Padres kind of battling it out, trying to get back in the first spot, see them struggle. What'd you notice, Willie?
Well, I was watching the first stage of the Tour de France over the weekend, and there was this disaster that occurred when one of the fans stuck a sign out in the middle of the roadway and knocked over one of the riders. That had a domino effect. Before you knew it, there were about 15, 20 bike riders crashed on the side of the road. Apparently, the Tour de France organizers are really angry about this, and they want to file charges against this woman. Problem is, they can't find her as she fled the scene, and there's nowhere to be around. But
I hear she's a fugitive.
She's a fugitive from justice. But that was my big takeaway from the sports weekend, that terrible crash that happened in France over the weekend. We are going to be talking some NBA playoffs this afternoon, down to the final 4 teams, and we also have some comments we want to make about the Major League Baseball season. But before we turn to those subjects, let's send it over to Lenny for his lowdown. Take it away, Lenny.
Do you get as irritated as I do about stupid stadium names? The worst of the worst are Dodger Stadium and Yankee Stadium. I know, right? I mean, how boring and unimaginative is naming a ballpark after the team that plays there? Not only that, it's bad business. In a healthy, prosperous society, all available space should be used to advertise products and services. And when we buy those things, we're more fulfilled and the economy gets better. So enter the innovative and dynamic San Francisco Giants. Not only does their ballpark's name promote companies, not some stupid team, but it's had 4 names since it was built 20 years ago. That's an average of 1 new name every 5 years. Now, how cool is that? But there is a problem with it. It turns out that the cost of changing the signage is greater than the revenue from naming rights. Look, I'm an investigative journalist, and I checked this out. I called a sign company, told them I was the Giants, with a different voice, of course, and asked how much to change the Oracle Park signage to something else, like, say, Fudgesicle Field. The guy said, more than you can afford. See the problem? But I've got a solution. Instead of traditional elaborate signage, just mount one of those huge monitors outside on the stadium. Have a new name? Just type it into the computer. No cost at all. And naming rights could be sold on a daily basis, making it affordable to smaller companies, like anti-inch ointments or rodent control products. Other teams would follow suit. Forget Dodger Stadium. Today it's Depend Stadium. No more Yankee Stadium. It's Cocoa Puff Stadium today and Prep H Park tomorrow. The change of the cost would be zero to the team, but the fun would be priceless for the fans. That's something you don't see often in sports, a situation where everyone wins.
Okay, well, we are back, and I wanted to spend some time talking about the NBA playoffs. We're down to the final 4 teams as they battle it out for the NBA championship. Over in the East, you got Milwaukee and the Hawks, Atlanta, pretty locked into a pretty tough series right now. And over here on the Western side, you have Phoenix taking a 3-1 lead over the Clippers. Nick, I was going to ask you, regardless of what happens with the Clippers this year, what's their future look like?
Well, Willie, there's a lot of talk that Kawhi should leave if the Clippers don't at least make it to the finals. But he put a lot of effort in getting out to LA. It's not like he's going to jump ship and go to the Lakers. I don't think Kawhi is that kind of guy. He gave up the Clippers gave up a lot to get Paul George over here, who will probably stay either way, though he did miss a few free throws, critical in that game last week. It's, he's really shown that he's not the player that we saw last year in the bubble. So it's going to be really interesting to see what they do. I don't think they're going to blow it up like they did with Lob City. I mean, if they were able to put up with Lob City making it to the first, second round all those years, getting to the Western Conference Finals in their second year with their big two, I see. As long as Kawhi stays, I think we're going to be in the finals next year, if not this year.
It's a very competitive Western Conference, and the Clippers are going to have to maintain their big superstars if they want to be one of the elite teams in the future. And we are back. I wanted to spend some time talking about Major League Baseball. We're not getting through the halfway point of the season, and there's been a lot of headlines that have happened in recent days. San Francisco Giants, 50-win team already. Padres have won 9 out of the last 10, but yet they haven't been able to make up much ground on the Giants, who are really, really on a tear. You've got a home run race that's starting to heat up between Vladimir Guerrero, Fernando Tatis, and Shohei Ohtani. Those guys have been hitting the ball out of the park with regularity. But the big takeaway for me over the weekend was the Dodger manager, Dave Roberts, who is now complaining about other teams shifting their infielders, taking away hits from his batters. He's calling for Major League Baseball to legislate the rule, like they do in the minors, in fact, where you have 2 infielders on each side of the infield. More traditional type of defensive setup. What do you think about Dave Roberts' complaint, Nick? Is it valid?
Well, it's funny because what he's saying and what he's doing are 2 different things, and it's just really.
Hey, Nick, I don't want to interrupt you, but it looks like I got a call from Nick. Not Nick, no, Ronnie. Ronnie's on the line here. He's got some things to say.
Hey, yeah, I don't know how much longer we keep doing this, how many things about baseball that keep making us mad here. I mean, I'm not a fan of Dave Roberts to begin with, so it's kind of weird that he's trying to have his cake and eat it too. The Dodgers shift more than anybody, but I don't think it's even about that. I mean, honestly, I'm okay with it. If they would have changed the rule to having the 2 infielders on each side, I'd be okay with that. That's a lot better than other crazy rule changes that the MLB is flirting around with it. And if this rule is in lieu of some of those other stupid rules, I would be okay with that. That's not necessarily meaning I'm a fan of it. I mean, the whole shift thing, I can't stand when managers complain about the shift. If you don't like it, find a way to beat it. Teach your hitters to hit the other way. Start dropping bunts. I never understand why guys don't bunt against the shift. It seems way too obvious to me. But, I'm not opposed to it if that takes the place of other stupid rules. So, at this point, whatever.
It's all about analytics. Some teams have figured it out. They know where the other guys are going to hit the ball. And as a result, you got third baseman playing there in short right field. I saw Manny Machado make this catch at the right field wall the other night. That was amazing. How do you put that down the box score? The third baseman catches a fly ball in right field. Of course, it also explains why the batting averages are down so much this year. I mean, people batting 280. I think it's all part of Major League Baseball effort to get some more offense, get some more runs, and get rid of these low-scoring games where the pitchers just seem to dominate. Nick, I see you nodding your head. What do you think about all this?
Well, I really thought that play in the right field was super great. It's interesting to see because I'm a baseball fan, but I didn't really notice the shifts not being a former player too much. So it's interesting to see that being the strategy. I like Ron's idea of bunting, try to get it to go the other way. Pretty much just whatever you got to do to make it win, but don't do one thing and then complain about other people doing it.
Well, and that's the thing, and both of you make good points. Willie, you said it's all about analytics, which is true. And Nick, where you just said, don't do one thing and then not do it the other way. Analytics is a big part of that. It has completely taken over the game, and I think it's great. I love analytics. Analytics is such a broad, loose term to begin with. So what are we even talking about when we say analytics? But the numbers and the sabermetrics, too many teams are just seeing that as their Bible. And, it's a great tool, but the game is still the game. And I think some of these teams need to, find that balance between analytics and just the game of baseball itself. It's crazy, all of this stuff. Like, you're right, Willie. It all comes down to the numbers, and the human aspect is slowly being taken out of the game.
Yeah, this is going to be an issue that baseball is going to have to be dealing with again in the future. Ron, I know you have some more things to say in your rundown, so let's just take it away for that one.
Oh, yeah, a lot to say in the rundown.
All right, guys, how you doing? Look, I'm going to do something a little different today. I'm not giving you any picks, all right? Because I'm not going to lie, I'm a little ticked off. One of my associates on the show made some disparaging comments about Eli Manning that I didn't appreciate. The New York sports community didn't appreciate it. And, I also sent a letter to Eli letting him know what was said about him as well. But the class act that he is, I'm sure he's not even going to respond because that kind of thing he just brushes off, all right? Look, my mother told me if you don't have anything nice to say, don't say anything at all, and that applies here. Spoken like a true fan whose team has never won anything, all right? Eli Manning's a two-time Super Bowl winner. Of course he's going to be the director of fan engagement, all right? And this whole idea that he's got no personality, a stupid face or whatever, he's got the dumb face, and it's great. We love it. He is so revered by Giants fans, all right? The only guy who is more of a Giants legend is Lawrence Taylor, and he's just larger than life. And I'll be honest, to be fair, no offense, Eli, you're not larger than life like Lawrence Taylor is, all right? You ever been to a Giant game where Lawrence Taylor is down on the field, post his playing career? The place goes crazy, all right? And I'm telling you, the same thing's going to happen with Eli, all right? Next time there's a Giants game, Eli's walking out on the field, the place is going to go nuts for the guy, all right? Two-time Super Bowl winner. He's a true class act, and that's why people don't think he has any personality, because he's just a class act. He's professional. He's handled his whole career professionally. And I'll tell you one thing. I got a new hire to announce as well. Anybody else who has something to say about Eli Manning, Bobby Bonaduccio has been hired as director of engaging the 2x4 to your head, all right? So keep the Eli comments to yourself. This goes for anybody out there, not just my associates, all right? And look, I don't want to hear it, all right? I'm gonna die on Eli Manning Hill. It's nonsense. You ask Vinny Valvucci, you ask Sal Saliano, any of those guys, they'll all tell you the same thing. And I gotta say, we're just lucky that this didn't get back to them. Otherwise, it'd be a real problem. So be safe, everybody.
Okay, well, we are back, and it's time for the weekly Sports on the Spot question. As usual, we received a plethora of questions, and it took us a while to pick one, but this is the one we came up with. It's from Lil Jr., who wants to know, will the Raiders ever arise from here?
Well, Willie, that's a great question. You'd think that moving to Las Vegas would attract more business, more players, more fan base. Everyone loves Vegas. I think it's going to be the opposite. On top of them just already reaching for players in the draft and going for the strongest looking guy or the fastest guy on paper, now they're going to start attracting people who want to be distracted. I mean, what else do you do in Vegas besides play football? You got the nightclubs, you got the strip clubs, you got the casinos, you got music events, and now you got more sports coming. So I think they're just going to get a lot of distractions. It's a tough time to live in. LA already seemed pretty busy. Same with New York. But yeah, I don't think they're heading in the right direction with the Vegas move.
Well, I really shouldn't be talking about this, but you brought it up. We could call it inside information. I think the Raiders, they got a shot to be pretty good. My buddy Gary Gatanasco is the owner of a food restaurant type business called Power Pasta. It's mixing protein and carbs in the pasta and working on a deal for the Raiders Stadium as basically the chef for the Raiders. So we start putting that stuff. I mean, you got guys, you go down Jersey Shore, these bodybuilders, they're eating it like crazy. They're walking around. It's like veins are going to pop out of their neck. Totally legal. So we start giving that to the Raiders players. I don't know. We might be able to see the season turn around. So I think we're going to get them out of this deal.
Well, we could talk about this for a long time, but we're going to stop right now as we've run out of time for this week's show. Wanted to thank everybody for watching, reminding everybody also to please like, comment, and subscribe to the show if they want. If you have any Sports on the Spot questions, you can submit them to the sportsonthespot show@gmail.com. or else submit the question in the comment section of our YouTube channel. Once again, I want to thank everybody and have a good day. We'll see you all next time.
Unbelievable.